So then, the breakdown of the squat. And before I get into the main bulk of this video, I'm going to ask you a quick question, and you can feel free to pause it whilst you have a quick run through of what the answers could be. So my question to you guys is, what do you reckon are the main joints that are affected when you do a body weight squat? So pause it now, have a think, and let's go and have a look in the next slide to see if you guys were correct. So then, hopefully what you guys wrote down was your hips, your knees, your ankles, your thoracic spine, which is basically your mid-back, so where your ribs are, and also your lumbar spine, which is your lower back. Now, you may have added some other joints, such as your neck and shoulders. However, like I said in the introduction, I'm trying to strip this back so you get the real good fundamentals, and your shoulders and your neck are really kind of primarily used in other versions of the squat. So bonus points if you did put them down, but the main joints that I'm going to be kind of focusing on throughout this workshop is what I've got here, so hips, knees, ankle, thoracic spine, and your lumbar spine. So then, the next part is actually going to be all about how you squat, and there's a few variations and actually a few reasons why you guys might have picked up my mobility course. So then, dropping it like it's hot. Now, partial squats, some of you may have seen people in the gym, or you may actually be guilty of doing this yourself. And the reason why I say guilty is that it's not really a proper squat, so to speak. So, partial squats, the reason why I'm not much of a fan of them is because the squat itself, when done properly, it can actually use over 200 muscles in your body, which is why I think everybody loves it, because it's one big movement and it hits a lot of muscles, so it's a little bit different to like a bicep curl, for example. So the reason why partial squats I'm not a fan of is because it only really uses your quadriceps, and I think the reason why people actually like the squat is because it makes them look good when they're doing like a barbell back squat, because it means you can pile on the weight and you can do it a lot easier than if you were to drop yourself and go lower, either to like 90 degrees with your knees or even further. So if you're trying to look big in the gym and you're putting on some extra weight plates and it's like, this is great, it's generally actually just working your quads, and that's not why we're here for today. So on the flip side of that, this actually may be a reason why you guys picked up my course, is that the word or the phrase is ass to grass, and that is basically where you try and drop your bum in the squat as low as you can go, ideally to the floor or the grass. Now, the best part about this is that on the other side of the partial squat, the ass to grass squat will actually activate so many more muscles, and it will get up to that like 200 plus muscles being recruited for the movement. So there is, however, a downside to the ass to grass squat, is that because there's such an increase in range of movement with it, it means there's a lot more variables that can go wrong, so there's a lot more risk to kind of injury. And for example, if you're doing an ass to grass squat and you've got any weight on the barbell, you may actually have to reduce the weight, just because it can be like an injury risk, and the amount of strength you have, let's say from doing a partial squat, will be a lot less if you were to do the same movement with an ass to grass squat. So really here, safety is key. So if you need any more evidence about why you should actually do a full squat compared to a partial squat, have a look at this study. Now, this is a 2013 study where a group of guys were recruited and they were split into two groups. The one group did partial squats and the other group did a full squat. Now, this was over a 12-week period of time, so in the scheme of things, it may sound like a reasonable amount of time, but long-term wise, it's actually still fairly short-term. However, the results actually may surprise you. Now, I'll run over the guys who did the full squat for those 12 weeks. Now, they had some great results. They had an actual increase in 1.2 kilograms of muscles. They had a 2% increase of lower body muscle mass, so in general they got bigger, and also they had between a 4 to 7 increase in cross-section of thigh muscle, so again their thigh muscle mass increased quite significantly there. So All of that is some great results over a relatively short period of time. So let's have a look at the results of the partial squatters. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The partial squat group actually gained no measurable kind of increase in, or decrease to be fair to them, in muscle mass. So it shows how just over 12 weeks doing a full squat can be so much better for your body over a partial squat. So there you go, that is some great evidence about why you should look at doing, increasing your range of movement if you are currently doing partial squat, and it shows why you should try and squat lower, and rather than be focused on looking at the numbers and looking at how good you are in the gym. So then, that's a little bit more about the varieties of squats, and hopefully it's kind of set your mind on the right track of what you should be looking to do when you're improving your squat. So where do we actually go from here? My next video is going to be all about the ankles and your feet and how you actually set yourself up properly for the squat, looking at things such as your arches and whether you've got high arches or flat feet, and going from there and how you kind of set yourself to start off optimally with the squat. So that's it from me in this video. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.